right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. I have a great episode for you today, but first, as always, let's get through the show notes. If you're not following the Facebook page, head over to Facebook, type SideQuest Fitness into the search bar, and like the page. There, you're going to get updates on podcast episodes, articles when they get posted, and you're going to get a brand new taco recipe every Tuesday for taco camp. Plus lots of other shenanigans and nerd talk throughout the week, so make sure you head over to Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is SideQuestFM. If you want to see some cool videos and random stuff on Instagram as well, you can follow me on Instagram, same handle, SideQuestFM, or follow me on Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. Send me your questions. I want to get all the questions from you, help you as much as I can on your fitness journey or your journey in life, whatever it may be. But head over to Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. You get a little more personal, in-depth look at the shenanigans I get into throughout every day. But I do love getting questions from the community, so please send them out to me. If you have not left a review for the podcast, please head over to iTunes. If you're not listening on iTunes and you listen on SoundCloud or Stitcher, leave a review there as well. When you leave reviews, it helps me move up the charts on the iTunes store so that more people can see and hear the amazing guests that I've had on and have on each and every single week. So make sure you head over there. And don't forget, if you haven't picked up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss, head over to sidequestfitness.com/7 principles, and you can pick up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss. These are the same 7 principles I follow each and every day and teach my clients to help them shred away more body fat, unlock heroic strength, and just look better naked. So if you want to unlock strength or just look better naked in the mirror, head over again, grab those 7 principles of fat loss, and start following those today. All right, guys, I have a great guest for you today. I do have to apologize for the audio quality. My mic finally crapped out. That little short that was in it glitched out, and it glitched out like the day before. I ordered my new mic on Amazon, and it came the day after I had this interview with Mike Vacanti of ontheregimen.com. Mike returned to chat with us, so I apologize for the poor quality on my end. Really nothing I could do, but I've got the new mic now, so things are back to normal on this end. This is a great interview. Mike was the trainer for Gary Vaynerchuk for 2 years. We talk a lot about that, catch up on what he's doing, where he's going, his macros app that he created, why he's back on YouTube after a short break. And we talk a lot and just catch up about a lot of really cool stuff. There's a lot of great value in this, even outside of fitness, just for life in general. So enjoy as Mike Vacanti returns to SideQuest Podcast.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I have a returning guest. It has been almost, as we are nearing the 2-year anniversary of the podcast being out, almost 2 years since he's been on. So I'm stoked to finally get him back on. But he's so super busy snapping all day that I guess I found time for him to take a break from snapping and come on the show. But the one and the only Mike Vacanti. Mike, welcome to the show.
What's up, brother? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It has been too long. I agree.
I'm starting to go back and pull some old guests who haven't come on in a while. I was like, I got to get Mike back on since he's done with Gary and he's got a whole new experience of his life going on. And you've had so much happen since the first time you were on that you've kind of grown into your own sort of YouTube fitness personality as well. And you basically were the top guy on Snapchat for a while, though I think now according to Ghost Codes you're a little further down.
I'm falling off. Yeah, that makes sense. No, man, I'm excited to catch up. I'm excited to hopefully help and entertain some people as much as I can too.
Cool. Well, I want you to go ahead and get it out of the way first. Your Vikings won on Sunday. They beat my Panthers. So,
I don't like shit talking NFL because I'm obsessed. I'm a diehard Vikings fan. It's the only franchise, professional or college, that I watch every play. I actually care about. I don't like talking trash with other teams because I don't like talking trash about things that are outside of my control or like our control. Like if we're in the gym and you want to like razz each other and go at it, like I'm all down for that. But when it's like I'm just about optimism in sports. Like I don't know. But yes, the Vikes beat the Panthers, and I was very excited about that. I don't know. You guys, like, you've had a lot of success recently and been really good, so I'm excited to touch some of that.
I have to say I am very proud that we played well the first half, and I don't know what happened in the second half. But your defense, I was really surprised by your defense and how well it's done, especially since Teddy went down like a week before the season started, and whatever they've put in place, they've just done a really good job of executing as a team. So they're undefeated right now, and more than likely, I doubt they lose at the Titans. But
Giants this week. Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, Giants.
Yeah, no worries.
The Titans first week.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be a good season. Hopefully my Panthers turn it around. So we'll see. But it is interesting that you don't like talking trash with other fans, especially since you were the personal trainer for 2 years of Gary Vaynerchuk, who basically touts online that he hates the Patriots with a passion. And I can only imagine when he's at the games, like in person, he's pretty rambunctious.
Yeah, at games is like a little bit different, but when I'm trying to grind and I'm like working or I'm going through Snapchat and like helping people with legitimate fitness questions, and I have dopes, Packer fans, like talking trash. It's like, I'm working. I'm doing stuff right now. Like, do you need something? And not like if it's like fun and kind of jokey back and forth, that's fine because there's like rapport there and I get it. But when it's like legit shit talking, it's like, all right, get out of here.
There's more important things to get done than just shit talking sports. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. If you want to shit talk, go to Facebook or Twitter.
Is that where the shit talking happens?
That's where a lot of it. That's someone said in Austin. They were like, you know why people go on Twitter? They go on Twitter to complain. Like if you just go through feeds, that's what most people are doing.
Yeah, for sure. But that's most people in life. Yeah. Like that's just a not a microcosm, but like a representation of the population and like things that are happening in people's minds most of the time, which is sad.
So how do you keep from complaining? Because you're a pretty positive dude.
And
I know you have your times because you like to put on a little dashboard, let the best deceptions run through the ears.
Yeah, I like to pretend I'm like a whiny, like skinny fat 15-year-old version of myself who just got dumped by some girl who never really liked him. Like I'll do that once every few months just to it feels a good workout for sure. How not to complain? I don't. Like, there's so many cliche answers to this. I don't even know what my real one is. Gratitude, like just being pumped to be alive, being lucky and fortunate enough to have had good friends and like raised by good parents and like had love in my life and had like nothing seriously bad happen to me, illness, health. Like, I don't see. We talked about death last time I was on here, which was super interesting because I don't talk about that a ton, but just finite life, and I'm not going to waste it being in a negative mindset.
It's a good point. Good point. I like that. I think that's something a lot of people sort of struggle with is that negative mindset.
It's hard. I'm a big, especially in cell phone, especially in internet like world where you can sink hours and hours into unintentional consumption, just like get deep in a Facebook feed, get deep in a Reddit thread, get deep in something like that by yourself, solitude, isolation. You got to break out of that. Like you gotta get into action. You got to get outside. You got to breathe fresh air. You got to like have human touch and like hang out with people in real life. Because I think that a lot, and especially a lot of younger people, and me being on YouTube more has shown me more of that because YouTube skews younger. Just spending hours and hours and hours in a row in a dark room, just kind of like watching what is fed up next on your screen over time. Like I see how that breeds negativity.
Yeah. So speaking of YouTube, this is a question I had written down before you first of the year you had a reverse bet with yourself, and we'll go into reverse bets here in a little bit. But in the post, your sort of wrap up of the year, you're like, look, I started YouTube for all the wrong reasons. My heart really wasn't in the right place. And about 2 weeks later, you went like full throttle on YouTube again. So what changed?
I got a massive, massive number of snaps and emails from people that I had no idea watched my videos because they didn't comment and like didn't tell me, that were like, I really, really missed them. They were part of my daily routine. They helped me like be more positive. I learned things, like they motivated me, just a lot of really good feedback. And I was like, I didn't know that. Like, oh, coaching client X, who I'm really close with, like, I didn't realize that you were watching every single video I put out every day and that it was really helping you. And so that helped me see like that there was actually more to it than me being vain or like fame whoring or chasing validation or any of those like wrong reasons to be putting content out.
Okay.
I think it was more than 2 weeks, bro. I think it was a solid like 6 weeks, but
it might have been. I know I read the post, and then a few weeks later,
you're like, why is he doing daily uploads?
I was like, wait a minute, wait. He said he was taking his foot off the throttle. Like, I'm a writer. That's what I do. I write, and then now he's like doing YouTube every day. All right.
I'm writing a post a week. Daily YouTube uploads are a low time investment for me because I just shoot what's on my mind. Like there'll be a few day in the lives, a few full day eatings, but usually it's okay. I got to get a video. Like what's top of mind for me right now? Talk about it. One take, get it up.
Do you think that some people, and I admit this myself, one of my listeners, Otto, asked me if I was going to do some more video, maybe like some vlog type stuff, but my day is kind of boring. Like if someone wants to watch me answer email and like type on my computer and write, like sure, I can create video of that, but do you have to find exciting things, or do you just film the truth? Like if you literally just sat and answered email and programmed all day, would you just have your camera behind you recording that?
So 2 things. No, I would choose a day. If I'm going to do a full day vlog, I would choose a day where more is happening, where I'm training my dad in the gym and I can get some of that, where I'm working myself out and I can get some of that, where I'm doing something interesting with food, going out to eat with friends, going on a date, going like doing something where there is more value than just me sitting there. However, I have done videos that are like that, but you have to story tell to the camera. So I would sit there and I would like be positioned with my computer, answering emails, camera on me, and anytime anything interesting would happen, I would turn it on. And I did one of those. I was like Q&A answering client emails or something. And I just answered emails in all of my inboxes for a few hours, and anytime something interesting popped up, I hit play, and I got 10 answers out of that, and it ended up being a solid video. But yeah, I hear you. Like, try it. Maybe people will be interested. Maybe it'll be like, man, never knew Robbie like grinded like that. I never knew he like put his butt in the chair and like that's what he was doing during the day. And maybe doing that, like uploading that every single day doesn't make sense, but as pieces of content, I think it does.
It's a good point. I guess I've just, I'm making excuses for not doing it, to be honest. I mean, I guess I could. I just think of time investment, and is it something I really want to do? Like, sort of like you, is it something that I'm doing for the right reasons? Am I doing it because I can put more content out in that way? Or is it better for me to just like record a short, podcast and put that up?
Yeah. I think one of the reasons I'm big on video is because people are big on consuming video.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't read. And even if they say they do, they're not going to read a good 2,000 word blog post that I put out. So delivering that content in an audio visual way is reaching new audience. Right. So even if that's like, even if video is not the thing I'm the absolute best at, it allows greater distribution.
Right.
And I think it allows greater depth. I think that it's easier to connect with someone when you see them talking, when you hear them talking, versus a blog post.
Right, because you can see the tone and get the inflection, and you understand the point they're trying to make. Whereas, reading, you are sort of interpreting in your own mind as well, what that person is saying. So you started with equals and alternatives, which I miss. Are you bringing it back in any way? Are you going to do anything with it, or was that just your intro to YouTube?
It was my intro to YouTube. You've seen one and you've seen them all, and these are, you can go back and check these out on my YouTube channel. Like, what I did was took essentially quote unquote fake health food, and I don't really like the word health because health and nutrition is contextual to the person and their goals and their lifestyle, etc. But we would take something like organic orange juice. And for a person who's trying to lose body fat, drinking multiple glasses of organic orange juice is really just drinking a lot of sugar throughout the day. Calories are adding up. It's not very satiating. And I would take that and say, hey, from a calorie and macronutrient perspective, this is actually Coca-Cola. Like, I get that they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close for what you're trying to accomplish. Instead, so these are equal. Instead, have whatever the thing is. Have a piece of whole fruit. Have some beef jerky, like whatever. So, but once you grasp that concept and you're like, oh, calories, macronutrients, nutrition labels, like I should pay more attention. You've seen 5 episodes. You've seen the other 95. And I don't think I'm good enough or entertaining enough on camera to carry that. Like, I don't think people keep coming back. I don't think that show can blow up on my back.
Right. I got you.
With daily uploads, I'll probably do one a month, maybe.
Right.
5 episodes a year kind of thing.
And it allows you, with daily uploads to talk about more than fitness, which you've done. And it allows you people to think, oh, well, he's just not some dude who reads nutrition labels and is obsessed in that way. So it helps you become more human.
Yeah. People buy coaches, not coaching.
That's
John Romanello, quote credit. So like, any way that you can be honest and authentic and help people and like be vulnerable, which isn't something that I think everyone should do, but to the extent you're comfortable doing that online, it allows more depth of connection. Like, I know for a fact people in the past have signed up for coaching who followed me with no real intention of signing up for coaching. And then when they got engaged and realized I have 11 months to look better, they're like, oh, I like Mike, the fitness guy, more than I like Bobby with abs, the fitness guy.
Yeah. It's the truest statement ever. People buy coaches, not coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true for almost any industry. You can sell something, but if you don't give it to me with a good story and a personality, it's not going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with YouTube videos and the weekly posts started earlier this year. You had a reverse bet with yourself that you had to put up, a post every week, or you were going to give money to your biological father. And you wrote a whole post about, all of that and went into some really, deep things on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you've got another reverse bet for the end of the year.
Yep.
Do the reverse bets keep you driven? Because you're pretty successful, as an online fitness entrepreneur, and you got to train,
bro.
Dude. Listen, you got to train Gary Vee. Like, you're at home, you have the ability to travel and move to wherever you want. I consider that success.
Mm-hmm.
But do those keep you driven, even though you could keep doing the same things you've been doing?
I don't think I can keep doing the same things I've been doing. Like, I just don't like that mindset of, oh, I can sit on it now. Right. I think that's a losing defense mindset. Here's what I like. So the reverse bet is, if I don't accomplish X things, then I have to do Y, and Y is a bad thing. The reason that I like them, because the devil's advocate argument is, well, why do you even want to be doing these things? If you really wanted to be doing them, you'd do them anyway. And I think that we do things in the short run that aren't good for us in the long run. And I think that your smartest, best, most well-rested, highest caffeinated version of yourself, if you were to plan what you want to happen over the next year of your life, I think it's really hard for tired, sleep-deprived you to execute on that vision. But if you have a negative incentive in place, like a reverse bet, like right now, I'm I have a content related reverse bet. Daily Instagram, 6 YouTube uploads a week, blog post a week, email the newsletter every week, meditate every day. There's another one on there. A blog post a week. I don't know if I said that, but I have to give Aaron Rodgers a ton of money, like an amount of money that I'm never actually going to give him. And what I mean by that is it's such a ridiculous sum of cash that I'm just not going to fail on this reverse bet. 11 weeks, I have to execute all these things, and I'm going to do it. If I'm in a coma, I'm going to do these things because I'm not going to give Aaron Rodgers this money. Like, it just isn't going to happen. And like, I don't hate Aaron Rodgers on a personal level, by the way. It's just, he's like, I'm not going to give anyone this amount of money. And so the Packers quarterback makes sense during football season, et cetera. Yeah. So that's what this reverse bet is. And the why is, I know that when I'm working hard, I'm happier. I know that when I'm creating, I'm happier. I know that when I push past the initial difficulty of like putting yourself out there and then doing it again and again and getting momentum going, it becomes easier. Other aspects of my life become better. But I don't always want to do that. Last night, I had to get a YouTube video up. My roommate John was down here. I'm like, what should I make a video about? He's like, do one about intermittent fasting. I'm like, I don't want to do one about it. It was 11 p.m. I had an hour. I was like, I got to get something up. And it was probably like 77% good. But in the first 2 hours it was up, it had 15 comments of people who were like, this really, really helped me. I'm so glad you posted this, Mike. And so forcing myself in like a low mental time to get into action, like accomplish the goal like that I wanted it to. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Yeah. You shot the video, you put it up, and it's, the t-shirt that you had, that, even Gary said, ideas are shit. It's all about execution. And you could have the idea of putting up a daily video. You can have the idea of going to the gym, but it's actually stepping into it. It's going back the next day, going the next day. It's taking action that actually gets the things done. And just like working out, I was telling one of my clients on Tuesday, she was like, I don't understand it. Everything just feels so heavy today. Like weights that she normally does with no problem. She's like, it just feels so heavy. And I'm like, look, because I can talk to you on this level, it's kind of like sex. Sometimes you have really, really, really great sex. And then you have those times where you're like, I don't even know why I just did that. That was really awful. The gym's the same way. Like, that's just how it is. You're going to have great days, and you're going to have days where you wish you had not stepped in. But you came in and did the work anyways, and that's what matters. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you're talking about... I don't have bad sex, by the way. You know what? I was going to save this. I'm just messing with you, bro. Let's go into... No. Let's go into it. Mike is an avid... You're a young single man on Bumble and Tinder. I watched Tanner... get on, send some messages on Tinder while we were in Austin, and living vicariously. To be honest, yes, I tell him that all the time. I'm like, I vicariously live through you. I love my wife, but it's just the shenanigans. It's not even about that. It's entertainment. It's like, this is funny to watch you do. Yeah, it's for totally entertaining. It's totally entertaining because I'm like, damn, dude, you got some A+ game. I will give you that. But if you could create the perfect dating app for men and women, what's the most important experience your app would have that Bumble and Tinder do not? This was a question you had planned for this interview? Yes. I saw you looking up. That's unbelievable. I'm glad we went there. All right. It wouldn't be an app. It would be a potion that made men embrace rejection, because too many dudes are just afraid of like not being liked. Me being one of them to a very large extent by like anyone in life. And so going up to a girl and like saying, hey, I like you at a bar, like, hey, I'm Mike, nice to meet you, doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen like it did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And we rely on our cell phones because you can't get rejected when you're sitting behind this thing and you like know that you both matched each other. So you both find each other physically attractive. And then like you take Bumble where the girl has to initiate conversation. Like you have someone who just said, I like the way you look, and enough so that I want to send you a message. Like it's rejection proof. And I like it. I'm using it clearly. And I've met some awesome girls off of it. But what I would rather have than an app is just like
more balls on dudes.
That's going to be the tagline for the show now. Mike Vacanti on more balls with
Great.
Dudes with more balls.
Whatever gets the clicks. I'm all about the clickbait as long as the content backs it up.
I think that's a very good point. I have to admit, I was terrified, like terrified to speak to women. And I don't think most guys are until you sort of realize that, again, like the gym, you have some really awkward times lifting weights and then you get really good at lifting it and your form gets better. Like, same thing with like talking to women. Like, if you just forget the stupid, sexual attraction thing and just go up to genuinely talk to people, it makes it a whole lot easier when you don't have any ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm,
but what 18-year-old to 22-year-old college student didn't have ulterior motives? Like, yeah, I was terrified.
Yeah. And you think it's like the biggest moment ever and the rejection is crushing and heartbreaking and like you overinvest mentally. Yeah, for sure. So I would just give the pill out and be like, here you go. Fixes that for life. Now you just like rejection proof.
I do like that because I think it's important to learn in everything in life because, I got rejected from teams I tried out for in high school and middle school. I suffered from thinking.
Let me jump in real quick. Phil Knight, creator of Nike, like part of his drive and motivation was from being cut from a team when he was a kid in his youth. So yeah, that's like that experience is huge.
Yeah. And let's be honest, for most guys, the reason we go into a gym in the first place is because we want to look good naked because we think that's like we rip our shirt off, we're going to be, swarmed by women. How many guys, myself included, had a breakup and were like, all right, that's it. That's it. I'm getting back in the gym. I'm going to get myself in shape. I'm going to show her what's what.
Yeah. A lot. I love when someone applies for coaching and they're like, just had a bad breakup, got dumped. I'm like, boom, like let's go. Like this guy or this girl is just going to kill it.
Yeah. Using rejection as power.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you use rejection as power?
It depends on like what we're talking about. Let's take it another route just because my brand isn't like single bachelor Mike dude. I wrote a post recently called Slings and Arrows, which was related to the type of rejection that comes from like mean, trolly, or even just like logical, but comments that disagree with what you're putting out, which is part of, like I said, like earlier, I talked about being vulnerable and putting yourself out there and making that decision. It's a cost of doing that. So if we can call that like those rejections of your ideas or of your content or whatever, embracing them, because I know that if I'm not getting that negative feedback, I'm not doing enough. I'm not putting enough out there, because the other cost, like there's the cost of negative feedback of being true and authentic and pushing and working hard and putting yourself out there. And then there's the cost of not doing it, which is nothing, which is just like sinking back into like sloth mentality. And I kind of, it's actually a good post. I would check it out if this interests you at all.
Of course I've read it. I'm on your email list.
You and whoever's listening, though, you get it. But yeah, it came from like, it's butchering a Hamlet quote. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it's his nobler in the mind to
stuff with the slings and arrows about Rage's fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Hamlet. Yep.
Yeah, and then it was taken out of context by, I'm just having brain farts left and right here. American journalist, author, dude. Gosh, I'm pissed. He was writing a letter to his buddy when he was 20 years old. His friend was like, what should I do with my life? And he's like, look, I have no idea, but since you're asking me and we're friends, I'll try to help. And he says, you're always either sinking or swimming. Like anything you're doing, you're or floating with the current or swimming against the current. And the slings and arrows mindset is like, I'm going to swim against the current. And even if that makes me different, even if that makes me weird, even if that makes like people not like me or say bad things, like that's the cost of swimming upstream and going and getting it and living with my vision and aligning my action with my intuition, which is the best feeling in the world, in my opinion. Whereas the cost of floating is like bare arms against a sea of troubles. Trump versus Hillary, I hate both candidates. Like, America's screwed, the economy's screwed, insurance rates are too high. Little Johnny's teacher, they have 33 kids in their class. That's too many. Our state government needs to do, like, just complaining, just negativity, just like sinking into that versus going against it and doing something about it. Anyway, seek out the slings and arrows, because that means that I am taking action and doing what I should be doing.
I loved that post. One, because the theater nerd in me was like, yes, bring on. Because it's one of my, Hamlet is one of my favorite Shakespeare's, even though Shakespeare terrifies me when it comes to acting, because it's like, it's the pinnacle of theater. And I'm like, if I fuck up Shakespeare, what if he like haunts me for the rest of my life? But there's like 35,000 different ways people have interpreted that one speech. But I think you can pull those things out of context and find so many great nuggets of inspiration in that one speech from Hamlet. And I really did enjoy that post. And what stuck with me from it is I'm watching my wife kind of go through her own sort of hero's journey right now with some stuff that she's going through. And it's interesting because, like, as she starts to make progress in her life and she's feeling a lot better, it's like the world starts to notice that, and they turn around and go, whoa, no, you're with us. And then everything else gets negative, and it starts to bring her back down. And I think that's one thing that especially we probably see with clients is that you're starting to make those changes, and then life throws a wrench, in your plans. Your kid gets sick, a parent dies, or, some crazy thing happens at work. Like, life is going to try and throw those things at you, but you've got to push through and battle through the slings and arrows. And
even less extreme than those, which are like the worst of the worst. Just like friend that you grew up with, that like you've always kind of been like seeing the world the same, and you start doing things differently. Like, often I think the negative feedback comes from something within that person that they don't like.
Right.
Because they see you changing in a certain way, and it reminds them of something that they wanted to do or something they didn't do or something that they might not have the courage to do at that specific time. Like, that can breed some of that negativity. Yeah.
That is a true statement. And I see that in a lot of people. We actually talked about that at Man Camp in Austin, about how, the things that others, they see their failures, and when they come at you, and most of the time people are being negative, is because they see the positive that you're doing, and they think, why can't I do that? And they really, what they're doing is reacting at their own anger within themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's huge. It's huge to see that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, there isn't something wrong with me. Like, that's not why you're coming at me. I'm not doing something wrong here. It was funny that Roman posted a line from Forgot About Dre after that, because then I went back and listened to it a bunch of times, and I was like, man, these lyrics are fire.
By the way, that song, I actually I shit you not, I get into the gym on Friday, hit play on Spotify, my playlist, first song to pop up, like right after I saw that status. I listened to it all day while I was like working on this little secret project thing.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
Yeah, so good. Man, can he please come out with a Chronic 2? Like, it's been like, hey guys, I'm working on this. Can you just do it? Come on. I know he's taking some action. He's not just sitting back and doing nothing. He's got a lot of things going on. But come on, Dre, drop it.
Businessman. For real.
Yeah. So how's training your dad?
He kills it.
Yeah?
Yeah, he crushes it.
Is it kind of nice because like now you're like, man, this is the one time in my life where like I'm telling you what to do and you got to listen to me.
No, I don't like that. It's weird. I like it's uncomfortable, not in fitness, because it's very obvious that I'm the expert and he is the trainee who hasn't touched a weight since college.
Yeah.
But no, he works really hard, and he has some natural athleticism. And he's getting stronger and leaner and like reshaping and looking way better. We're 6.5 weeks in. He's just killing it.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love watching the snaps with him walking in, and you just see the smile on his face.
Yeah, he is always smiling. I should catch him when he's not smiling on one of these, but he really does enjoy it. Yeah. There've been a couple of workouts that it's like we talked about earlier, and I had this talk with him. He was on cloud 9. Like, this is great. I think this was midweek 5. Just having the best workout he's had so far. We're going up on weights on everything, which we do regularly because he's making linear progression on strength. But he just felt really good. He was really happy. He was in a really good mood, and basically kind of telling this narrative like, this is it. Like, I used to not like working out, but now I love it. Like, and I don't like letting people. I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but I also want to be realistic with expectations. I don't like getting too high or too low because I think both are just kind of dangerous. So I'm like, yes, you're killing it. Like, let's go. But like, not every workout is going to be this amazing. And sometimes they're going to be a little grindier. He's like, yeah, I get it. And then the next workout, he's like, how can I be so tired? How can I? I'm like, it happens. Like, you're fine. You're doing really well. You're not any weaker. Like, sometimes you have good workouts. Sometimes you have so-so workouts. Sometimes you have not great workouts. Like, continuing to put in the work. That's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Just continuing to show up. I mean, how many blog posts have you written where you're like, oh, God, that was awful. And you just said it earlier. You had a bad video last night that you weren't proud of. But, you shipped it. You put it out.
Yeah.
So you've been pretty busy over the last 2 years. You finished up training Gary. You've traveled all over with him. And you also, besides doing Eagles and Alternatives and becoming, a sort of YouTube star,
let's not use that terminology, but okay, thank you.
What? I'm trying to pump you up. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel so people will be like, oh man, he's a big deal on YouTube. Stop selling yourself short, Mike.
All right. Touche.
Why the Macros app? So
I used to get, no joke, 25 emails a day, 30 emails a day. Cold new person who wasn't in my community, can you do my macros for me? And I'd be like, all right, height, weight, body fat here. I'm just letting you know, this is just an estimate. Like, you're going to have to adjust based on progress, et cetera, be in this range. Like, this is about where I'd have you training rest day, go get it. And it takes time. And I got to the point where I was like, if my equations existed, I could just send you there and that would be better than this. Like the time up front and money up front that went into it is saving me time and money in the long run, basically. Right. And so that's where it was born. And then it developed a little bit. People wanted a food database, gave a food database, like made some tweaks to it. And Julius, my developer, and I are working on 10 or 12 adjustments for like working some bugs out and some other things, but also some user experience stuff, just making it a more user-friendly and better app to use for mid-November. Those will probably roll out.
Cool.
But yeah, the app originated and it's free and there's no advertisements. And like, it's just, I just think it saved me time, but it also helps people. So it's a win-win.
Yep. It's a great app. Don't be mad at me. I don't use it all the time.
To each their own.
But I do enjoy it. There is a lot of beer. You have like every single beer you can find at a bar listed on there. I was like, first going through it, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you just went down the aisle at a grocery store and just like.
We weren't comprehensive on food. Like, it only has the top 500 or 600 foods. You're not going to find some super unique thing. And the user can't upload food, because that was my big beef with MyFitnessPal is you log the fried shrimp tempura and It says there's 0 fat in it. You're like, and most people aren't going to question that. It's like, this is a $475 million app. I'm going to use their food database. When you allow user uploaded food, you have errors in there. And I get that there's like verified foods and not verified foods, but like, I wanted something that accuracy was more important than comprehension of the food database. And like, if something's not in there, I have posts about how to estimate, like blog posts that you can get to from the app, how to estimate macros when eating out at a restaurant. And like, go to Google, go to nutritiondata.com. I trust these sources. So
yeah,
I don't remember how I got on that tangent. Beer. Yeah. So we weren't comprehensive on food, but like we got all the beer and wine in there. and a lot of like mixed drinks and liquor too.
You did. I was very impressed by that one, because of course, I went first and I'm looking through the A's and I'm like, it's like Abita, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't even see food here. Is Mike just trying to get us to drink all of our calories? What's going on?
I'm all about sustainable. I'm all about long game. I'm not. You have to train and eat like a bodybuilder if you make progress. So having 100 degrees, but this 16 ounce, 8% super hoppy beer has 360 calories. That's weird. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people they don't realize. And you've done a lot of posts on this as well. And you also have a great post on weighing meat. So I'll have that linked in the show notes as well, because it's something that I think everyone should understand, because a lot of people will weigh their meat cooked, and you're actually consuming more meat than you think. So I'll link that, sidequestfitness.com/Mike Vacanti, VACANTI, and then I'll have hyphen number 2, since it's the second time he's been on the show. So you can get all the show notes there with that. Because that is one of the biggest things a lot of people skip. They're like, oh, this is an 8-ounce chicken breast. Well, it's 8 ounces cooked. It's actually, 10 ounces or whatever.
Or 11 or 12, yeah.
Depending on how you cooked it and how dry you make it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with steak. And that is my one issue with MyFitnessPal is, you go to it and you're like, oh, the fried shrimp tempura. Well, this one says 800 calories, but this one says 500. Let's just go with the 500.
Yeah.
Because it's what we're going to do. I mean, it's what you're going to do. And then you wonder why you're not seeing the progress. And this is something I actually have been doing with Blue Apron. I'll have a post up on this soon. My wife has been ordering Blue Apron to try it out. And they have their calorie counts. But you can go to MyFitnessPal and find it, but it doesn't have the macros listed out. So I've counted everything, and I think they're off. I think their estimate's way off.
Yeah.
Under. Like, it's over. So it says like 800, but I think they're also counting the veggies, and I'm not counting the veggies, but even counting the veggies and all the like oil that you use to cook it in, I'm still way under. So I don't know what they're doing.
Maybe that's a fat loss strategy by them. Like, if we overstate calories on the label, people will see awesome results eating this food and like keep buying it.
It's entirely possible, which would be genius for them, because then you're like, oh, well, if you're missing 200 calories in each meal over a week, that's like, an extra 1,000 calories you're burning off. So sneaky way to get people fit. All right, Blue Apron, maybe that's the deal. All right, so let's go into a couple of fun questions. They've changed since you've last been on. So we'll do a couple of these, and then we'll wind down. Mike, if you could go anywhere in a time machine, where would you go?
To the start, for sure. I have no idea how all this was like. To the start of, yeah. I want to know like how the world got here, and like why we're here. So if I can go somewhere that shows me that, that's where I want to go.
Then you get into a weird paradox, but we won't go into that. Mike Vacanti, the only person to see the universe be born. But wait, how could he actually be there if he was? Well, I'm not gonna. I won't nerd out on that.
He was on this podcast and he got to use a time machine, and that's where he went. Like, don't ask questions.
If your life were a movie, what would the title be, and who would play Mike Vacanti?
These are the types of questions you gotta give me heads up on, and I would have
come
great.
on, man! But it's more fun and natural this way.
I agree. The title, like my movie up to this point, or my movie like when I die.
You make that choice.
I'd like to play myself. just because I'm not arrogant to put any like super attractive male actor in my place. The title of the movie, I don't know. Up to age 29, I'm 29 right now. I don't think people would watch. I don't think I've done enough. I don't think that I think I'm only coming into my skin in the last 2, 3, 4 years, really. And I'm not where I want to be and haven't had the impact I want to have. So I don't think there'd be a movie right now. I think there'd be like a low budget documentary that gets like 2.1 stars out of 10 on Amazon Prime. And people are like, see that Vacanti movie? And you're like, yeah, I'm going to wait till he's 80 to like really watch it.
I like that you say Amazon Prime and not Netflix.
I'm big on Amazon Prime lately. I don't know.
There's a lot of really cool shit, like the pilot season. You get to vote on like the new show that they're going to have, and it's not like rinky-dink shows. Like there's a show with Kevin Bacon. There's a show with why am I forgetting his name? Frasier, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah,
and there was another one, and The Tick. Like they redid The Tick, which is cool. And
that is cool. I like that like fan audience engagement. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. And they've all been pretty cool. Plus, they also have all like the old HBO shows, so you don't have to have HBO Go or HBO Now. Just in case anyone is listening, go to Amazon Movies Prime, do all that. What's the most money you've ever drunkenly spent on fast food?
Just for myself?
Yeah.
These questions are awesome, by the way. I'm very happy to be answering them right now.
I mean, I know back in the day.
There's two ways that you could get dinged here, because I really want to answer this correctly. It would either be you just ate a ton, or you ate at an expensive fast food place. And there's just not that much variance in cost of fast food places. I would guess. I went to school in Madison. There was our bar time place called Big Red's, which was a Philly cheesesteak place, and the owners would like drive the buns from Philly, like they were authentic rolls and really good, to Wisconsin. It was just absurd. They're shut down now, tax evasion, I think. But we would go there, and it wasn't that expensive, but a Whiz Wit and some Philly fries and a soda and maybe even a beer, because they were selling beer illegally, I'm pretty sure. It can't be more than $30 just for myself. Okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go back to the other questions that I had. But they're just a couple of random fun ones that I've come up with over the last couple of years. So in your post about your wrap-up of the year and your bet to post once a week or give your biological father a bunch of money.
From back in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you wrote this one in July. You talked about YouTube, and you're like, look, I've been doing it for the wrong reasons. But you talked about, fitness and where fitness and nutrition need to go. And you said you were going to think about it, so I want to know if you thought about it. Have you thought more about how to change fitness for kids?
No. I mean, yeah, I've thought about it, but my conclusion is I'm a terrible macro thinker. It boils down back to on the first microeconomics test in college, it was literally a 1,000-person lecture, and there were 2 of us that got 100% on the first exam, and I was one of them. Macroecon, I bombed. I was awful. Like it's just the way my brain works. Because to solve obesity, I can't do the one-to-one. I can't like shake every person and every parent and make them a better parent and sit them down and pump them up and like get their mind right and kick them out into the world and keep them accountable. Like I can't scale that to the world. There have to be systems. There has to be education. And I don't think you're ever going to get obesity to zero for a number of reasons. I think some people actually don't care. And I don't think that you can change people who don't want to change as like a general rule in life. So yes, I've thought about it, and my solution is I have no idea how to do it, but I'm still thinking.
That's all right. But you know what? You're putting out content now that people who have kids, maybe it's the next generation that is changed. And for now, you're just a seed planter, and you're planting seeds for whoever's going to go on and have kids in a decade, they will, take your advice and the things they've learned from you and carry that on with the future.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I hope to have some impact.
So you were done training Gary. You were back home in Minnesota. Before we got on, you said you were getting out before winter sets in, which I'm sure by Thanksgiving you'll be like, all right, I'm out. I got to get out before the snow. So besides business and hustling, which we all know Gary is like the master of hustling and getting work done. I know, Jordan Syatt is his new trainer now, and he was saying how even within the first couple of days, he was like, I've seen him online, I've seen his, but like I never really understood until I was there, just how much and how hard he works. But besides business and hustling and executing, is there something else you took away from your time with Gary?
Yeah, a ton. I'm trying to think of what is most.
Because I know for most, like, you got to see Gary when he's not just Gary Vee, on YouTube, or Gary Vee hustling. Like, you got to see him with his family. You got to see him in a more intimate setting. And I'm sure there are tons of things you probably learned that, if you can share, I'd love to know.
I wrote a blog post a while back called 14 Things I Learned Training or like following Gary Vee around for 2 years. One thing that stood out, one of the points I made that's relevant here is not taking your work home. Because if you think about like the traditional American family, like there's a father figure who came home from work and had a bad day and he's working hard to support his family, and like kids are afraid to say things around him because like he's going to get mad, like that type of scenario is non-existent. Like GV does such a good job of not letting anything that happens in business or in like that world impact how he behaves around Lizzie and around the kids. That was like a big takeaway for me. There are a few other ones. I asked him once, like when I started actually making some money, and I was like pretty proud of it. And I was like thinking to myself, I can do good things with this and I can support people if they need that. And I asked him, I was like, it must feel really good, like knowing how much you can support like your family and like friends and people who need you. And if someone needs a job, like you have that for them. And he's like, yeah, but I'm way more proud of the emotional support that I can give those people, which was like an aha, like giving your time and giving your attention and like, is better than financial support, which is obvious saying it, but kind of was a bit of an aha for me at the time.
So how do you, you work from home, you go to a coffee shop occasionally, but how do you keep work out of home if you work from home? Because that's something like I'm sort of struggling with now, because it's like my day sort of ends and I'm hanging out with my wife and I'm like, oh, I want to tell you about this cool thing that happened or this idea that I had. And it's like, oh, she doesn't care. I need to talk to her about that.
Those are kind of two different things.
Working home, they are, but like, how do you separate?
I don't think you separate them. I think they blend. I'm saying not letting negative energy from work come home, or not like being in a bad mood because a deal fell through, or like separating them in that sense. They still talk about like this happened, talk about your day, talk about work, but and I can't really answer that because my working at home, like work and life have just blended together in my mind. But when something bad, like I try not to let something bad that happens in work or in internet land affect how I interact with people in my life. I try not to, when I'm hanging out with my roommate John, I try not to give less attention to listening to him because something's bothering me about work. Right.
Okay. All right. So last couple of questions before we wind down. You've, like I said, you've left Gary. Now you're at home with your dad, training your dad, and you said you're going to leave probably Southern California, maybe Southeast Asia. You haven't figured out exactly what you want to do yet. And you've blogged about it a little, that you want to travel, you want to see the world. So where does Mike Vacanti go from here?
Somewhere where there's not snow. That's my only thought process.
I love how you say that. And then like every time there was snow in New York, you're on Snapchat or on YouTube and you're like, New Yorkers, y'all don't know a damn thing about snow over here.
Well, yeah, they don't. People freak out about like multiple times a year, giant blizzard, and then umbrellas in the snow. Like that is the softest thing I've ever seen. Not to mention the city drains perfectly. There's a subway system, so there's never any snow on the ground. It drains in like 8 seconds, and it's not that cold. And then when the big blizzard warning comes, you get 3 inches of snow every time. Like once out of a decade, there's an actual snowstorm. Anyway, that was just the Minnesota in me. I don't actually like it. I just liked like if I could be in Los Angeles in January or in Minnesota in January, I'd rather be in Los Angeles weather for that period of time. It's just more enjoyable. I don't like being cold.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
I like playing in the snow, but for a little while, I don't want to deal with like 6 months of it.
It's great for a week or 10 days and you go sledding once and maybe play a little pond hockey and like it's beautiful. And then I don't want 3.5 months of frigid.
True, dude. I'm with you on that. Even though I know, my Viking Scottish heritage would be like, ooh, nope. Give me the nice moderate temperature and I'm good. All right, last question. If you could write a note to your younger self, what would you say in only 2 words?
2 words. Trust yourself.
That might be the second fastest anyone has ever answered that question.
It's not even close either.
Why trust yourself?
I've like slipped in a lot of sentences in this podcast that many of you may have picked up on about alignment of intuition with action, and that voice, whether it's coming from your head or your gut or your soul, and it's very faint and sometimes you hear it and sometimes you don't. I didn't start acting on that voice until I was 25 years old. Like I did what I thought I was supposed to do because it was the good and right thing to do. Impress parents, impress society, impress elders, get the safe job, do the right thing. Like that was always, and I always had that voice, but I would listen to it sometimes, but I wouldn't act on it, whatever it was saying. And I try to live without regret. So I'm not like, from age 7 to 25, I really wish I would have like done all these things differently. Because I'm super grateful that I have started listening to it since. But yeah, if I could give younger Mike at any point there advice, it'd be trust yourself.
I like it. Mike, I've enjoyed getting you back on the show, getting you to catch up.
This is great.
It's been too long. It was great to finally like actually meet you in person in New York. For those
Likewise.
who don't know, if it wasn't for, I'm going to give him a compliment here, but if it wasn't for Mike, this podcast may not actually exist. But I went through a coaching program with Mike, and then like we sort of just kept in touch via email. I had this idea, sent it to him for Fitocracy, and he hooked me up with the CEO there to make sure it was cool that I use it and go with it, and off it went. So one, thank you for that. But again, thank you for everything over the last couple of years and staying in touch and all the videos that you put out and all the good content that you put out. You are, you're inspiring to me as well, even as I get into this world. And real quick before we go, we got to talk about this bulk.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate that, by the way. And you've put in all the work, so thank you. I appreciate it, but keep on.
Well, if it wasn't for the fact that, a certain someone said, do the work and kept pushing and, in one of the emails you were like, don't let me down. I was like, well, okay. All right. I won't do that.
Good. We'll talk about the bulk. I'm a big fan of people who you respect paying attention to what you're doing. So getting yourself in situations, and I get a lot of, how do I get a mentor? Get a mentor by helping make someone's life easier and doing a really good job at it and working really hard at it for a long time. But like having Roman originally, having Gary, having like people who I respected their opinion and having eyes on me, like that's motivating. So I feel like I sometimes try to, how do I get this? Like, I'll try and impose that on others because I think it spurs action.
It does. And I think that's something I learned slyly from you and John and watching Gary's stuff as well, that I've tried to do with a few people that have reached out to me. I'm like, oh, you're reaching out to me? I don't feel that important, but I'll tell you what I did. Just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk about the bulk before we leave, because I went through one of those 600 grams of carbs, 600 plus grams of carb bulks. You're nearing the end. You got a couple more months. And you said before we got on that you're tired of, like, you don't even enjoy eating anymore.
Haven't enjoyed food for a long time, bro.
How many pints of Ben & Jerry's Froyo are you taking down a day? Or are you doing like Whole Foods only?
I'm actually consuming way fewer dirty calories, if you want to call them that. I just honestly, I'll feel better after having 150 grams of carbs via rice than 150 grams of carbs via half-baked froyo. But like, there are other, waffles with syrup. Like, what I'm actually doing is I'm going more ice cream than frozen yogurt and doing it on my rest day because it fits better with my macros. But yeah, I've been in a surplus, or trying to be in a surplus, for 15, 16 months, with periods in there that didn't go as well. I was probably closer to maintenance, but the last 4 months I've been going really hard and aiming to keep, because for a moderately lean person who's trying to build muscle and training a lot, high training volume, and like, if you're on the younger side usually, but in general, going higher carb, lower fat to minimize body fat gain during a bulk makes sense. It's not enjoyable. Eating 150 grams of fat and 300 grams of carbs, I could just go to like Fogo de Chao. I could eat like Benihana. I could go to these higher fat places and really enjoy these meals, or even like stuff I could cook at home. But going 600, 650, 700 carb and keeping fats in the 80 to 90 range, even though it's not that enjoyable a way to eat, has allowed me to add 12, 13, 14 pounds and not very much body fat over a period of time, where someone with my training experience really shouldn't be able to stay this lean and make that kind of progress simultaneously.
Yeah, it's been really impressive to watch, and I'm still jealous that you get 80 to 90 grams of fat a day. I was at like 45 to 53, and that was with 600 grams of carbs.
I started at 60, and I think like absorption of nutrients wasn't, like, something was off in my stomach, and I slowly brought fats up to 70 and then 80, and then I started feeling better on the same number of carbs, and the scale behaved, so I let it. But yeah, that's in 45 to 53 is insane.
Yeah, well, it was. Dude, I put 6 inches on my hips, so I'm not gonna balk at it. It was good. There are days I miss it though. I'm not gonna lie. Some days.
The bulk, grass is always greener. Always.
Yeah, it is. It's always greener. But I'm enjoying maintenance right now. It's kind of nice.
Focus on other things, like not stress too much about fitness stuff.
Yeah, getting the business, doing podcasts, creating more content. Plus, I'm officiating my best friend's wedding, so I can't really like bulk because I have to fit into my suit. So that's,
you don't want to like rip the pants with all the
no, that's already happened once. That's why I have to get new pants.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to like, and if you catch the bug and you're like, you know what, I want to really add some strength and some size, great, you'll do it. You know how. Yeah. But yeah, I think those periods of fitness not being the number one priority are a healthy balance in life.
Yeah, it is. Mike, if people want to know more about you, where can they find you online as we wrap up the show?
Just Google.
Just go. Basically, that's it.
My website, ontheregimen.com, type my name in Google. I'm uploading daily on YouTube, Instagram. Yeah, come say hey. I reply to stuff.
He does. Emails, YouTube, and all of that. So, again, guys, you can find that and all the show notes about all the things we talked about, sidequestfitness.com/Mike Vacanti 2. So don't forget the number 2, or you'll go to the first episode. But then I'll link to that one. I'll do all that linky stuff. But But you can get all the show notes there on the website. Mike, I'm glad we got to catch up, and let's not make it another 2 years.
All right. So. We'll do 1 year this time.
All right, man. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Good talking for sure.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.